We're now going to demonstrate the electrophysiology component of our research. What we have here is our electrode vest, and we have placed all of the different electrodes into the pockets that we've designed for maximum efficiency and comfort in setting up this part of the preparation. Kate has already had a respiration belt placed on her. This is so that we can measure her breathing while we're conducting the experiment. And she also has a temperature sensor that has been attached to her chest. And so because that goes underneath the vest, we put that on first. All of these things are going to be placed into our electrophysiology box here, which is all battery driven. And we're going to demonstrate how all of this is put on. So Ken, if we should start here by asking Kate to just bend forward. Thank you very much. And we'll place the vest. And that's coming through now. And we can roll this up, and the excess cords here will go into one of these frontal pockets so that they're not dangling or in the way. And the vest is secured by Velcro straps, so it fits comfortably and snugly. Now at this point, Kate, if I could ask you to stand up and turn around, you can see how all of the electrodes that we're going to be attaching to Kate are in a very convenient location. What would typically happen is for a participant we would measure the skull size from the nose to the back of the head, and then from one jaw line to the next. And that's how we determine the appropriate size of cap. And we want to make sure that, if I could just rotate you here, Kate, we want to make sure that the center electrode positions are aligned in the middle of the head, and that we have good centering with the rest of the cap. Now at this point, what we do, as Ken is demonstrating, we get the gel and we place the gel into a syringe. Now what we need the gel for is to make a connection. It's a conductive gel, so rather than scraping the head, which is what used to happen with EEG, all we do is administer a little bit of gel, and this is going to then allow us to attach the electrodes in a way that will be sure to be able to get readings that we require. We now have the conductive gel in all parts of the cap, each individual location. So now what Ken and I can do is we can begin to attach the electrodes. And we give ourselves a bit of slack with the ribbon, and then place the ribbon back into the container in the vest. And then we go through methodically. All of these electrodes are numbered. And so we begin with number 1, and we just move forward. They pop in very lightly. Kate, are you feeling any pressure?
No, it's fine.
It's okay. Now, I also know from experience that Ken is much more efficient at this than I am. But this whole process typically takes about 20 minutes to half an hour. These electrodes are very sensitive, so we typically take an extraordinary amount of care in applying them just to make sure that they don't break. As we complete attaching the electrodes, Ken is going to demonstrate how the electrodes are placed into the sockets. They fit in very easily. They just slip right in snugly. It doesn't require much pressure to put them in. And as the electrodes are being placed in the sockets, the tips of the electrodes are being placed into the conductive gel, making the contact between the electrode and the scalp. And there we are. Kate, how are you doing?
Fine. Very
Good?
comfortable.
All right. And we'll notice that the vest that we have here makes sure that there is no pressure being placed on the wires themselves. What it does is it ensures that there's no extraneous movement due to gravity on the electrodes, and to ensure that we get as good a recording as possible. You'll notice that we have the ribbon cables secured by the vest in order to not place any weight on the wires pulling the electrodes. These two electrodes here are the reference electrodes to which the other electrodes are calibrated to, so that we get even measurements from across the entire electrode array. They have to be placed in securely with a good connection, otherwise the system will not work. So if at some point there is a problem that we're not getting any readings from the system, the first thing to check are these two last electrodes. Now, we also have other electrodes. Perhaps most notably is our plethyometry and our galvanic skin response electrodes. I'll just drape that over you, Kate. How are you doing?
I'm just fine.
Good. Now, with the galvanic skin response, we have to attach those to Kate's hand. Now, Kate, are you left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
Now, because Kate is right-handed, we will attach this to her left hand. And so what we have here are two little sensors that will induce a very small current through Kate's skin to give us a measure of the skin response. So it'd be about the equivalent of putting your fingers on top of the leads of a 9-volt battery. Almost completely unnoticeable. Now, Kate, if I could ask you to turn your hand outward, please. We will now demonstrate placing the galvanic skin response electrodes. Okay, place one electrode on the palm, place a little cover over it, and then the next one. There should be at least an inch of separation between the two electrodes. And then secure them with tape. Very good. And the plethyometer goes on next. And if Kate, you can rotate your hand, please. I guess it would be helpful, if I may. I'll just show that the sensor here for the plethyometer is right here, and it should go on the fat part of, fleshy part of the finger. And it just slips over and gently, snugly connects. There we go. I'll take up the excess slack here through the vest. And there we go. How are you doing there, Kate?
That's very comfortable.
Okay, would you like to secure this through that Velcro strip? There we go. Great. And that's that.